This Thursday, January 2nd, NBA Betting Picks edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Thursday, January 2nd, here to get into the full schedule of games here happening on the Thursday night card. Of course, we'll go through every single game here, side total, toss in a few props that we do like for the action tonight. We'll wrap it up with our lock and dog picks, and of course put together our underdog fantasy entry here as well. But joining me to help me break down the Thursday card, you guys know him as the voice of the Tennis Gambling Podcast, WNBA, MLB, and of course here on the NBA Gambling Podcast, Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
They're doing pretty well. Ended up having a decent day in the NBA yesterday. Ended up splitting the lock and dog picks. Had Westbrook over 8.5 assists at plus 170. I think he had 8 in the first half, and then he ended up with double digits. So either way, can't complain there. For the lock, ended up fading the Heat at home, laying points, and that was close, but unfortunately did not go my way. So either way, the point is pretty good episode for me. If you include all the other games I didn't lock up, I thought I actually had a pretty good read on the card, like Detroit, like Toronto, stuff like that. But for the most part, yeah, once again, a decent amount of games today, not as many as yesterday, but some interesting games on the card, so it should be fun.
Yeah, some fun matchups here for tonight on the Thursday card. So definitely looking forward to getting into it. So got some teams on back-to-back situations, so definitely keep an eye out for the injury report for the games here for tonight. But yeah, let's dive into it here, Scott. We got about 6 games to get through here. We'll break it down, of course, here. We'll start first. Eastern Conference matchup, the Indiana Pacers. They are going to be visiting the Miami Heat in this game. Heat currently laying a point here with a total of 223.5. Like Scott mentioned, the Heat did play last night at home against the Pelicans. They get the 119-108 victory in that game, led by Tyler Hero, who finished the game with 32 points. Bam Adebayo almost had a triple-double last night for the Miami Heat. 23 points, 10 assists, fell 1 rebound short.
That is pretty funny, isn't it? That Bam finishes 1 rebound short, but
it's always the books always have it priced at 9.5, 10.5. I just think we just like automatically just start betting the unders for his rebounds because I've been burned too many times by him. So him and Rudy Gobert are on the ban list for me as far as rebounding props go. For those two players. Injury report here, Scott. Let's talk about the Indiana Pacers. They will be without the usual guys, James Wiseman, Aaron Nesmith, and Isaiah Jackson. That is pretty much it. Of course, Miami did play last night, so keep an eye on their injury report. They do get that extra time to submit the injury report. But Heat laying a point here at home, hosting the Indiana Pacers, Scott.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think it's pretty funny because I was making a case for a couple weeks waiting for Jimmy Butler to come back, take his unders blindly on PRA because I didn't think he wanted to be there. And then he ended up having 9 points in his first game back. I think he ended up with 15 PRA. Did you see his one-leg mini Dirk fadeaway in the first quarter?
I did not.
So he got the ball like 10 seconds left in the corner and took a fake Dirk fade 3 and with 10 seconds on the shot clock, and it wasn't even close. So I wanted to go back to Butler unders for this game too, because I think that he's basically quitting. But unfortunately, the books did not offer props on Butler this morning, so we'll see what his status is or whatever. But point is that was going to be my main play for this game, was just fading Jimmy Butler again. For this matchup, yes, the Heat burned me yesterday. The Pelicans, though, do stink. Game was close. I can't really get too mad. Indiana's been good lately. Now, they did choke away a decent lead in the second half to Milwaukee. Giannis came back, though. Those teams hate each other, so that was definitely a good battle. But I think Indiana's playing better basketball. Miami beat New Orleans. I'm not going to suddenly crown them as being, serious threats to anybody. Mm-hmm. They beat one of the worst teams in the league. The game was close. They ended up doing enough to actually cover in the end. But I like how Indiana's been playing. I think Indiana's been playing better recently. I know Halliburton was a mess against Milwaukee, But I do think they're playing better, and I do think the Heat maybe might battle some fatigue after having a lot of guys play some minutes. Butler not included. He played 25 minutes, so he should be fine. But you said Bam had a borderline triple-double. I know Hero played well, too. Fatigue could be an issue. Indiana didn't play yesterday, but I do like how the Pacers have played over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to go Indiana. I think Indiana is in better form, and I think that this game should come down to the wire. I'll go with Indiana.
Yeah, I like Indiana here as well. The Heat on back-to-backs this season, just let's see here. They're actually just 3-3 ATS, so not much there. They are 4-2 ATS in the first half on the second leg of back-to-back. So if this game is close at the half or maybe even Miami's up, I'll probably bet the Pacers in the second half. Just that's been very profitable for me this season. This is also the fourth game in 6 nights for the Miami Heat as well. Yes, they've had guys that have been in and out of the lineup, so maybe a lot of those guys haven't played those fourth game in 6 night here as they are tonight. But yeah, I would look at Heat first half and then Pacers second half. Full game, I do like the Pacers in this game. Like Scotty mentioned, that they've been playing a lot better, especially since they got some of their guys back at the guard position. Got anything for the total at 223.5?
For the total, it's pretty tricky because Indiana, we know, wants to play fast, but I think Miami defensively is going to try to slow the game down a bit. So, let me just see if they faced off already this season. They faced off twice. Both games went over. I guess I'll go with the over. It seems like Indiana kind of gets to dictate the pace when these teams get together. First landed 235. Second game did land 229. I'll go with the over in this one. I'm mostly just backing what we've seen in the previous head-to-head meetings.
All right. Before we get over to the next game on the schedule, let me just tell everybody about the SGPN app. It's completely free, just like all of our picks and podcasts are on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Just head to your Google Play Store or App Store. Just type in SGPN. Do us a favor, download the app, and help support the network. All right, we'll keep it moving here. Next game on the board, maybe the game of the night. We've got the Boston Celtics. They are taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves here on the road. Celtics are currently laying 4.5 points with a total of 218.5. Starting to see some 219s pop up as well. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown is officially questionable. He's dealing with a right shoulder strain. Porzingis is also questionable. He's dealing with a left ankle sprain. And then for the Minnesota Timberwolves, pretty clean injury report. Only Rob Dillingham, who's out with the right ankle sprain, and Luka Garza continues to be out with the right ankle sprain as well. These two teams did match up, I believe, earlier in Boston this season, where the Celtics did win that game, I think, pretty comfortably.
They won by 2.
Okay. 107-105. This was back on November 24th. Now they head back or meeting now in Minnesota here. Minnesota catching 4.5 here. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Boston in this one. I get the argument that Minnesota's at home, and Minnesota has given this team some issues in the past. They haven't been winning, but I believe they had an overtime game last year, too. So the point is, we have seen some close matchups when these teams are against each other. But Minnesota has won 3 of the last 4. Beat Dallas. They almost blew a 27-point lead in that game. Beat Houston basically via miracle because they were down. I got to remember how much they were down by, but they were down double digits with like 5 minutes to go, and they came back and they won the game. I got to just quickly remember how much they were down by. They were down 10 with 2:37 to go. They were down 10, and they came back and they won that game too. Then they ended up winning their next game as they were able to beat the Spurs by 2. Spurs are not exactly a great team. They didn't cover that game, and then they lost to OKC by 8. So the point is, even with 2 of their 3 wins, or I guess all 3 wins, you could argue that they're flawed. Because Minnesota didn't cover against Minnesota didn't cover against San Antonio. They should have lost to Houston. They were down 10 with 2.5 to go. And they almost blew a 27-point lead against Dallas on Christmas. So they're not really playing that well. They've just been finding ways to get across the finish line by the slimmest of margins. Now, Boston has been underachieving, mostly because we think they might be bored, where they just go through the motions and they tend to let bad teams hang around. They've been really bad at laying double digits, but against teams that are viewed as being pretty good, and teams that you could argue are good, I'd say, get-up spot for Boston. Maybe Minnesota doesn't qualify because they've been underachieving all year, but I just think Boston's better than this team. Like, I'm not going to say Minnesota's fixed after winning 3 of the last 4. I still think this team's heavily flawed. I think chemistry issues are still a thing, Boston held Toronto to 71 points last game. You could argue that the Raptors are still terrible and that the Celtics had a good effort for one game defensively. Maybe they channel into it again, but I do think Minnesota is overrated at this point, and I'm not going to buy in on the recent hot streak. If you can call 3 out of 4 a hot streak, I'm not going to, call that a sign that this team figured it out. I'll go with Boston. I just trust this team a bit more. Minnesota, I still don't think is very good.
Yeah, Minnesota, it's been the same thing that I've been saying all season. It's Anthony Edwards. It's a dose of Julius Randle, and they're
Gobert
trying to
rebounds
find.
when we don't bet on them.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. It's just inconsistencies, right? Like you mentioned it for the Minnesota Timberwolves team, where Boston. Yeah, I mean, there's been times where they've been a double-digit favorite and they've lost outright multiple times. Not only this season, but also obviously throughout the past couple of years there. But they just have more scoring options, right? Do the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like if one guy's having a bad night, you have other guys that can step up. And, you have Jrue Holiday tonight. I think obviously he'll be a menace on the defensive side, whether it's matched up on, I'm not sure it'll be on Anthony Edwards. Maybe it's a little too slow to stay in front of him. But Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, those are guys that can really defend Anthony Edwards here. So this is the first leg of a back-to-back here for the Boston Celtics. They do have a game tomorrow night. Let me see who they play. I don't want to call it a look-ahead spot for them.
You could argue any game's a potential look-ahead spot for Boston.
Boston, yeah. They're in. They play the Rockets tomorrow, so not much there. So
okay. It's an Udoka game if that matters. But
maybe the Rockets are looking. I'm gonna bet on the Rockets tomorrow for sure. Then with the Celtics in town, but yeah, give me Boston here -4.5. Any thoughts on the total in this game?
I think I'll go under. It seems like these teams defensively kind of have a war against each other. It's usually physical, usually pretty intense. I think you're looking at what should be a pretty solid, once again, competitive game most of the way through. I just think Boston's going to eventually break away because Minnesota seems to always have some dry spells offensively throughout the course of games. But I'll go with the under. I think Minnesota has to make the game physical. They have to make it ugly. And I'm hoping that Boston can reciprocate by playing good defense again. So I'll go with the under in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on the under here as well. Like you mentioned, the historically or past couple of matchups have ended up going under. There's a 104-102 back. I believe this was last season.
I know one of those games went to overtime. I don't remember which one, but one of them went to overtime.
Yeah, it doesn't tell me here on this page, so what I'm looking at. But yeah, under for me, I think it just turns into a defensive battle here, especially with Boston on the first leg of a back-to-back. Trying to find those numbers here for the total. Yeah, so on the first leg of a back-to-back, like the Boston Celtics are, they're 4-1 towards the under, 3-2 towards the under in the first half there as well. So keep that in mind.
By the way, I looked it up. 2 of the last 3 meetings did go to overtime.
Okay, there you go.
So there you go.
All right. Before we get over to the next game on the Thursday night schedule, let me tell everyone about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus of all sports. Underdog is always making it easier as well to win with Profit Boost and Gimme Pick'ems. Underdog Playoff Best Ball is now live as well. The Gauntlet Tournament has a $2 million in prizes up for grabs for just a $25 entry. They have NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and so much more. And you can now use specials and boost on all flex entries. Stay tuned at the end of the episode here. Scott and I will put together our Underdog Fantasy entry for the Thursday game. So sign our promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com. Make sure you guys use that promo code NBA SGPN. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the schedule, we've got the LA Clippers. They are visiting the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder laying 9.5 in this game with a total of 217.5. Looking at the injury report, we'll start here with the Clippers. They are without the usual suspects. Kawhi Leonard coming back at some point, I believe, in the latter part of this month. Terrence Mann continues to be out as well. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, Alex Caruso is out, and Chet Holmgren continues to be out for this team as well. 9.5 is the number for the Thunder hosting the Clippers here. Scott, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I think it's actually a very tricky game because the Clippers have had a couple of interesting battles against the Thunder. I know the Thunder did win the first game by 13 on the road. Thunder won the last game by 6. The game was very high scoring, very close. Clippers, I don't know what that game was against the Spurs. I guess Harden already had club plans for New Year's Day because nobody showed up for the entire game. I mean,
They
they
were on a
lost that game.
that was a back-to-back game for them as well, but
Yeah, I'm saying
still
it
not
just
an
seems like
excuse. Yeah.
it seems like mentally they were just prepped for the new year and they already had club plans. They just didn't want to bother. So the point is the Clippers, I just think, had one really bad game. I'm not going to really overreact to it. As for Oklahoma City, this team is absolutely insane. They're 27-5. Shea's been walking into 40 pieces at this point, and it seems like nobody can guard him. Hardenstein's been great, so we can see what happens there with this matchup, but I mean, 9.5 feels right. I think the Clippers, once again, can be competitive because they have been, I'd say, a pretty underrated team all season long. They're 19-14. Norm Powell's been great. Harden's been good as well. Zubac's been incredible so far this season. But it's really tough to go against the Thunder because they basically win every game. Like, you're just looking at the Thunder and you look up and the game's close. They have one monster quarter where they outscore a team by like 15 and the game's over. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
I don't want to compare it to Golden State in their prime when you'd have the third quarter avalanche where you just see Golden State outscore this team by like 20 in the third quarter and the game was over. But the Thunder kind of do the same thing. The game's close. They kind of figure it out and they flip a switch and the game's just completely over in the span of 5 minutes. It's kind of how it goes. So I think for this game, I'll go with the over. I think the total is a bit low. Last game did get into the 250s when these teams, 260s actually, when they face off against each other. OKC, though, scored 113 against Minnesota, scored 130 against Memphis. I can see a bit of a higher scoring game here. I think that this total is a bit low for me. I'll go with the over. I guess I'll go with Oklahoma City. Maybe if you want to go for, I don't want to say wire to wire, but I think Oklahoma City is probably going to be leading at halftime and full time in this game. But I'll go with the Thunder. It's tough to go against them at home. They're once again 27-5. They're 14-2 at home. The Clippers are 5 over, but they're only 500 on the road. Not a great road team. I'll go with the Thunder, but they are missing a couple of key wing defenders like Caruso, etc. So you could argue that Harden might have a decent opportunity to actually put up some good numbers in this game. I'll go with the Thunder, though. It's tough to fade them any given night because they are just so good.
It's usually that second quarter where the Thunder are typically taking off. Just kind of went through their box score over the last 5 games. It seems like they struggle a little bit coming out of the gate in that first quarter, and for whatever reason they make their adjustments.
There's just a moment there where Shea goes, all right, for 8 minutes I'm about to drop 15 points, and there's nothing you can do about it. And everyone's just like, all right, I guess we just lose the game. It's kind of what happens. But yeah, Shea has been walking into 40 for the last couple games. I don't know who's going to guard him on this team. They're going to try to send somebody at him. Like, who would even get the assignment? Because it's like an Amir Coffee. I don't even know who's going to try to guard him. It's not a good matchup. So for the Clippers, I mean, Shea could walk into 35 again, and the Clippers have no response. So
yeah, I don't want to call it a revenge angle for him, but obviously the team that traded him away for in that Paul George deal. So yeah, so Shea points, if you don't look at that, can talk you off. He did have 45 against his team back on November 11th of this season. I think it's going to be, this is a good game to probably live bet because, again, if I feel like the Thunder come out a little bit slow like they have been in the past couple games in the first quarter, you could probably get a better number on that 9.5 or even just bet them in the second half here. But I just got to continue laying it here with the Oklahoma City Thunder, man. They've been really good to say the least. I mean, 27-5 straight up. They've been a great ATS team as well. Thunder, you mentioned, like the Clippers, they've had their struggles on the road this season, ATS wise. On the road as an away dog, they're just they've won 4 of the 12 games in the first half. They've only won 3 out of the 12 games. ATS wise, 5-6-1 as an underdog on the road in the first half. They are 4-8 ATS as an away underdog as well. So seems like the indications are maybe just take the Thunder in that second quarter, like I mentioned, and then find a better number for the first half there as well. But I'll lay it here with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They just, again, like you mentioned, there's just a a 5 to 6 minute span where they just go on this like 10-12-0 run and they just kind of pull away in the game there. So I think they get the job done here against the LA Clippers. You said you like the over in this game, Scott, 217.5?
Yeah. I think I like the over. Last game did land in the 260s, so I feel like it's a spot where I'm expecting a bit more points than people expect. I don't know who's going to guard Shea, and I do think that the Thunder can walk into 120 against anybody. So I think I'll go over. The total feels a bit low to me. Yeah, I see Josh mentioning that Oklahoma also is not the biggest fan of James Harden. I don't know if I agree with that because, once again, Harden was shipped out.
It would be Houston than anything.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like Houston wouldn't really hate Harden.
I
he
don't think,
kind of forced his way out there, but they also were one
yeah.
game away from the NBA Finals. Like, I don't think that Oklahoma City really hates Harden because Harden had no control over it. He wanted to come back. That chose Ibaka over him. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say the fans hate Harden because of it. What Harden do?
Yeah. Yeah, I think for like the way that I guess he left Houston with the fat tooth or whatever you want to call it, I think that just kind of left a sour taste. But I think that overall, the Rockets fans still love James Harden. I mean, he has a whole bunch
Nets
of
fans are in a weird spot because he kind of did the same thing with the Nets, but the Thunder, I don't think he did anything for to hurt the Thunder. Presti just decided we're taking Ibaka over you and we're shipping you out of town. I don't think that they really hate Harden at all.
You said everybody in Oklahoma. Not the Thunder.
I'm just saying, like, do people in Oklahoma even hate Harden? Because he carried them against the Spurs in that playoff series. That was Western Conference Finals, I think. He kind of carried them in that series. I don't know if people in Oklahoma City actually hate Harden or not. I have no idea.
All right, anything else for this game?
No, not really.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. We got the next game on the schedule. We'll go with the Brooklyn Nets. They are in Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. Bucks laying 14 points in this game with a total of 221. Injury report. Start here with the Brooklyn Nets. They do get that extra time to submit the injury report because they did play last night, like we talked about, against the Toronto Raptors. So they will be traveling from Toronto to Milwaukee. On the injury report for the Milwaukee Bucks, guys that are officially out are G League players. And then we have questionable tags for AJ Green. And then Chris Middleton is probable, along with Giannis is probable. So expect those two guys to be out there. Giannis did return after missing a few games in his last game.
He had a big second half.
Yeah, big second half there. So maybe he's just had some rust in that first half. But probable tonight against the Brooklyn Nets here. Scott, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's actually a very tricky game. Yes, the Nets are on a back-to-back. Yes, they got killed in Toronto yesterday, but the Nets have randomly been competitive against this team. The Nets are 2-1 straight up against the Bucks, and I think that they've matched up well against this team. Now, the counterpoint is the Nets have started to tank. Shout out to D'Angelo Russell, though, who put up a solid stat line while the Nets got their asses kicked. Exactly what you want for the tank. But shout out to D'Lo, who had a good game off the bench there. For Milwaukee, I mean, the thing is, you look at the matchup on paper, and Milwaukee should kill this team. But we've been saying the same exact thing in the previous 3 meetings, and the games have been close. Now, the Bucks did win the middle game by 15. That game was, once again, not an easy cover. Sorry, they won the middle game by 5. So the Nets have lost or won every game while still covering this number. So I do think Milwaukee's laying a pretty big number here. Now, the counterpoint, once again, is that the Nets are really, really bad. And it's a bad spot because they're traveling from Toronto. And they also gave up 130-plus points to the Raptors, which is probably not a good sign defensively. Quickly had like 14 assists in that game in his first game back from the injured list. So it's really tricky because the Bucks should dominate. But do I want to lay this with Milwaukee? No. The Nets have matched up pretty well against this team. So I think I'll take the points. Like, I'm probably not going to bet this, but if I've seen this matchup 3 times, slightly different, of course, Schroeder's not there, stuff like that. The Nets have been competitive. I think Jordy Fernandez actually done a good job of kind of coaching circles around Doc Rivers in their head-to-head meetings. I'll go with the Nets plus the points. I think Milwaukee wins. If they win this game by 30, I would not be shocked at all because the Nets are trying to lose at this point. But until I see Milwaukee actually win comfortably against the Nets at any point this season, I'm not laying 14. Like, 14's a lot. I think Fernandez finds a way to lose this game by 10. Give me Milwaukee to lose this game by either high single digits or low double digits.
I think, or at least I should say the back-to-back numbers are pretty good for the Nets this season.
Fernandez is a great coach.
Yeah, 4-2 ATS on the second leg of a back-to-back. Think Cam Thomas should be out there. I know he didn't play last night for the Brooklyn Nets. This team will be fun if Cam Thomas is able to stay healthy. You got some chuckers on this team, so I think they should be able to still pull up points. And like you mentioned, I wanted to play D'Lo points last night on the over. I think it was like 16 and a half, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he had 22 in the end.
Yeah. I think they came out and said that he was going to have a limited role or something like that. But I was like, with all the guys that they did have, I was like, who's going to score the basketball for them? And so kind of regretting that. But anyways,
It's such a good spot for D'Lo, though. D'Lo is so good when there are no stakes involved at all.
yeah. So I think we probably just go back. I think if Cam Thomas does it, I'll keep an eye on that because like we mentioned, Nets did play last night, so we don't have the official injury report for them just quite yet. But I think they can keep this competitive. My favorite play would be the over in this game at 220.5, or if you want to take a Bucks team total over in this game.
I mean, the Nets gave up 130 to Toronto, so you're gonna have no resistance from me for the over.
Yeah. So I think my favorite play in this game would be the over 220.5 and the Bucks team total over as well in this matchup here. Scotty, you got anything else for this game?
Not really. I think Giannis could be potentially flirting with a triple-double in this game, but I do think the Nets have matched up pretty well against this team for whatever reason. So if Cam ends up playing, I don't know how many minutes he's going to play, but the Nets actually have some scores on the team, which is actually an upgrade at this point. So, yeah, I think Milwaukee wins, but I don't see them winning by a ton. I'll take the Nets to keep it somewhat interesting.
All right. Before we get over to the next game on the schedule, let me tell everyone about mybookie.ag. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. They have props for every game and the live dealer casino games as well. They also have a new early cash out option that's available on mybookie.ag. All you got to do is head to mybookie.ag, use our promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Plus, they'll throw in a $10 casino chip for you there as well. Again, head over there, mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered back sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. Now you can track props in the Rhythm app, NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, NBA, Rhythm. Honestly, they have it all. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, let's get over to the next game on the schedule. We've got the Philadelphia 76ers. They are in the Bay Area to take on the Golden State Warriors. Warriors are laying 3 points in this game with a total of 216.5. Injury report, Philly did play last night against the Sacramento Kings. Coughed up I want to say it was like a 6 or 7 point lead. Didn't score a single point in the final 3.5 minutes, did the Philadelphia 76ers. Sacramento did win the game by 6. So we'll wait on their injury report. Joel Embiid didn't play last night. It's possible that he does play here tonight against the Warriors.
I'm assuming he's going to play. He doesn't play back-to-back, so I think he wanted the Golden State game.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Sabonis doesn't block anything. He could have probably had 35 last night, so whatever.
Yeah. For the Warriors, questionable tags on Kyle Anderson and Stephen Curry. Gary Payton and Brandon Pajemski are both out for this game, and then Draymond is probable. So questionable on Curry and Kyler Anderson, probable for Draymond, and then out is Brandon Pajemski and Gary Payton II. Warriors laying 3 points in this game here. Scott, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
So even though it is a back-to-back for the Sixers, and even though we're not sure if Embiid's going to play or not, I think he's going to play. Because he had a pretty good game last time he was actually on the court. I just think that they decided to sit him the first leg to let him play the second leg of a back-to-back. I think I'm at the point in the season, just by watching this team play, if there's a minus next to the Warriors, I'm taking the other team.
Yeah.
I think it's just that simple for me. This team stinks.
Yeah.
I've been trying to make, I've been trying to raise awareness, I'll say it that way, for Golden State. And I have a future on them to actually go over their win total, which I think might be dead. I know that they're around 500. This team stinks. Like, they've been getting so much, I'd say, respect in the markets because they started the year off so well. I forgot their record early on in the first month or two, but they were really good. They might have
Yeah.
been top of the Western Conference, actually, for like a
Mhm.
day or two. But watching them just struggle in the fourth quarter of all these games, watching Kerr's idiotic rotations, and now you have injuries catching up to them. Podziemski hasn't been good, but you're missing him and Gary Payton II. You don't have many guards actually on your bench. Moody's missed some time too. Curry might not play in this game, but -3 for Golden State. I don't trust this team to beat anybody. Like they're still priced like they are still a serious threat because they're favored in a decent amount of games, and they don't win any of those games. They've been really bad the last 2 months. So Philly, I get's not good either, but I think Embiid's a matchup problem. I don't know who's going to guard Maxey on this team. And Paul George, despite choking again late in the final minute or so of that game yesterday, he
Mhm.
still had 30 points. Like, he
Yeah.
played pretty well. I think the Sixers are live. Mostly just Golden State always being involved in close games and always, or most of the time, self-destructing with turnovers or bad shots in the final 3 minutes of games. Kind of like what Philly did yesterday. But I'll go with Philly plus the 3. I don't mind the money line here. Golden State laying points, though, I just cannot get behind based on the recent form. I'll go with Philly money line.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what the ATS numbers are in the fourth quarter in particular for the Golden State Warriors, especially
I
when we
might be
talk.
able to find point margin in the fourth quarter, but I don't know if I have like point spread. But I
Yeah.
could check that.
Um, but yeah, it's everything that you mentioned, right? We've talked about this a lot. It's just the rotations down the stretch for the Warriors. It just really has been the difference. And I think now when you don't also have Brandon Podziemski out there, you have to go a little bit further down the bench and rely on some of the younger guys. I think this is a good opportunity for the Warriors, sorry, for the Sixers to, I guess, quote unquote, get a, I don't want to call it a statement win, but a win against a Western Conference opponent, especially what transferred last night for this Sixers team. They were in control for most of the game and just went on a drought there to close out the game. The opportunity was there for them to win the game, but they just weren't able to get it done. But yeah, at least matchup wise, I think it's going to be very difficult, especially not having Gary Payton II out there to try to stay in front of Tyrese Maxey. If Paul George can at least contribute 20 plus points here tonight, I think Embiid can have a big game here as well. So yeah, for me, it's going to be the Sixers here plus the 3. See if there's a fourth quarter. I know books do offer like a pre-flop fourth
Yeah.
quarter line.
I
Like I
pulled it
would.
up. The Warriors are average in fourth quarter point
Okay.
differential somehow. The Sixers are actually worse. But that is misleading because I don't know how many of those games Embiid played in, and there's some other factors there that I can't really
Sure.
equate or account for with the
Mhm.
actual leaderboard. So that's tough to fully account for. But I'll tell you right now, watching Golden State play, they're a really bad fourth quarter team.
Yeah. So yeah, Sixers for me, and then if the Sixers are trailing entering that fourth quarter in a close game, I would live bet the Sixers at that point. Total starting to come down a little bit here, Scott, to 216. Any thoughts on the total?
Yeah, I understand why it's coming down because Embiid's expected to probably play, and that's going to slow pace down dramatically in this game. It is a pretty low total, though, for Golden State, who I don't think are very good defensively. I think I am going to go with the over. Do I like Philly's defense? No. Do I like Golden State's defense? No. The argument is Steph might not play, though. So that's why you're kind of wondering how Golden State's going to find ways to score if Curry's going to be out. But I think they'll find a way. It's just a pretty low total to me. I think I'll go over. I'm not going to bet
Yeah,
it, though. I need to know if Curry's going to play first or Embiid.
yeah. I think again, this is one of those games where you just look or wait for the injury report, the official injury report, and then um, determine if you want to
Yeah.
get on the over or under for this game. All right. Last game of the night, we've got the Portland Trailblazers. They are in Hollywood to take on the Lakers. Lakers are laying 9 points in this game with a total of 224. Injury report. Start here with Portland. They will be without Jeremy Grant and Matisse Thybulle continues to be out. Banton is questionable for this game with the left hip contusion. For the Lakers, AD is questionable. Jalen Hood-Schifino is out. Jared Vanderbilt is out. And Gabe Vincent is questionable, along with Christian Wood being out. So the usual suspects are out for the Lakers. Lakers laying 9 in this game against the Blazers here. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting game because the Lakers officially got rid of D'Lo. I did enjoy the press conference quote from JJ Redick, who was talking about how they're going to miss D'Lo and how he contributed to the team. And I'm thinking to myself, JJ, you hated D'Lo more than anybody else in the entire organization. Like, you were benching D'Lo all the time because of his bad shot selection and his bad defense. You don't have to fake it. Like, we know you're secretly thrilled that you can put Austin Reeves at the starting point guard spot, who could have a borderline triple-double in his first game without D'Lo. Like, we know you're happy. It's fine. You don't have to oversell it. It's all good. The point is, the Lakers, you could argue, are improved with Finney Smith now on the team instead of D'Lo. D'Lo, I said before, is kind of an empty calorie score where he can give you good numbers if he gets a bunch of shots on a bad team. But
Julius Randle-esque.
Kind of. I mean, Randle was on some pretty decent Knicks teams, though. But same argument. It's not as extreme as like LaMelo. It's like the all-time extreme. But you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The point is, the Lakers with Finney Smith, I think, did make a good trade. Is it going to help them get over the top? No. Is Portland worth a damn? No. But the Lakers always play with their food. That's usually the problem you run into. Like, I think the Lakers are going to win this game. I'm not going to tell you that Portland's going to win, but would it shock me if the Lakers were up 15 with like 8 minutes to go, and then suddenly Portland goes on a 10-0 run, the game suddenly close at the end? No, because I've seen the Lakers do that for years at this point. It's a pretty interesting game because if you think that Sharp and a couple other Portland guys can actually keep pace offensively, like Simons has a good game, maybe Avdi has a solid game, Aiden's had some good numbers against the Lakers too. It depends on if you think that this team can actually hang in there offensively with the Lakers. I think for the 9, I'll go with the Lakers, but I think you can find a better number with Portland in play. The Lakers, I think, can start off hot in this game, but if you end up getting to like 14.5, 15.5, I would be willing to go for a middle in this game with Portland. I think Portland can keep this game close at the end through the back door, but I see the Lakers kind of dominating early, so I don't mind the Lakers first half. Portland, I just think, is still extremely undisciplined. Avdia, shout out to him, by the way. He had a double-double with turnovers last game. Shout out to him. He had 10 turnovers last time out. So the point is, I don't think they're disciplined. Billups, we know, had a certain family issue, so he's kind of been away recently from the team. I'm not sure if he's back with the team, actually. I didn't check that, but they might be getting him back. I don't know for sure, but the point is, Portland's still a team that's not very good. They're a team that should be better than they actually are. Kind of like Utah, in the same boat. They have a lot of talent, but you watch them play and they just don't win many games. I guess for the 9, I'll go with the Lakers, but I prefer Portland in play if you can get like 14.5.
Yeah, so this is a front leg of a back-to-back here for the Lakers. They play the Hawks tomorrow night. Not a huge look-ahead spot for them.
They've had a couple of good games against the Hawks over the years.
Yeah, I think they matched up earlier this season as well, where it went to overtime, I believe.
Yeah, I think LeBron had like a 40-point triple-double, and they still lost the game, I think.
Yeah. So I think
it's so tricky laying points with the Lakers, though, because you know that this team is going to lose focus for like 5-10 minutes in this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're only 5-5 ATS as a home favorite on the front leg of a back-to-back. This is their 5th instance. They're 1-3 ATS in the first half, and then 2-2 ATS overall for the game there. So not a huge sample size, but I'll take the Blazers here. I think they could keep it competitive, at least through maybe 3.5 quarters here. So yeah, I'll take the Lakers. Sorry, I'll take the Blazers here plus the 9. I like the over in this game at 224. I know Blazers don't play a lot of defense.
That I like too.
Yeah, and then I think that the Lakers obviously Blazers will get can put up points in this game. I think the Lakers will get theirs as well. So I do think that both teams can contribute to the over in this game of 224 here, Scott. Anything you want to add to the total?
Not really. I think I just expect some points. I think the Lakers, you have to wait for AD, obviously, because he's always questionable. But assuming he plays, I don't know how Portland's going to stop anybody. Ayton's not a good defensive player. They have Klingon. Could be a foul trouble problem for them. But the Lakers, I do think, have a lot of ways to score against this Portland team. And I think Portland has a lot of ways to score against this Lakers team, too, because they do have some guys who can light up a score sheet, even without Grant. Once again, Sharp, Simons, Ayton. They have guys that could actually score the ball. So I like the over in this game, too.
JT Mac asking Portland team total over. Yeah, I mean, if we both like this game and I like Portland to keep it close, then definitely would look towards Portland team total over in this game. They are five. Oh, sorry. Not. Let me go back to my sheet here. They are on their team total when they have the rest advantage. Slightly, it's 4-3 towards the over, so not a huge sample there. But all right, that is the last game of the night for the NBA card. Let's get into our lock and dog, and then we'll put together our Underdog Fantasy entry for the Thursday night games. Here, Scott, you want to lead us off?
Sure. I'm just quickly seeing if I want to take this at plus money as my lock, actually, but I want to just see the head-to-head numbers. It's tricky because his minutes have been going up a lot recently. I think I am going to consider doing it, but I don't know if I actually should or not. You know what? I think I am. I like the price a bit too much. Yeah, for my lock, actually, I'm going to go to that last game between the Lakers and the Blazers. I'm going to go with the prop, actually. Once again, plus money. I'm going to go with Austin Reeves over 4.5 rebounds at plus 124. He's had at least 6 rebounds in 4 straight games. They got rid of D'Lo. He's played at least 35 minutes, basically, in 7 straight games. So his minutes have gone through the roof, and I do think AD's questionable. We'll see if he ends up playing or not. Probably he's going to. But Reeves almost had a triple-double last game. The rebounds have been there, and I think that Portland's a team that can rebound, but I think that Reeves is going to help contribute. But right now you're looking at his workload going up dramatically based on his minutes, and with no D'Lo, his minutes have gone up even higher. He played 42.6 minutes against Sacramento and 38 minutes against Cleveland. And they kind of got run out at the end against Cleveland. So he played a lot of minutes in that game. There's a lot of workload there. 4.5, I think, is too low for what I think is a pretty underrated rebounding guard in this game.
Yeah.
Give me Reeves over 4.5 rebounds at plus 124 as my lock. For my dog, let me see if there's any line I can go with for maybe an alt or something for this matchup. I can go with... No, I'm not going to go Pritchard. I don't like the value on that at all. Sorry, trying to find something I might be tempted by for this matchup. I could go with a 1 to 10 in theory.
Boston 1 to 10.
I actually thought about Philly 1 to 10 if I wanted to go for a potential. I don't want to say dart
price.
throw, but every Golden State game's close, and I don't think they're very good. So I think that you're looking at a game, especially if Steph ends up not playing. I think that the Sixers have a pretty decent path to winning this matchup, but I don't see them winning extremely comfortably. Unfortunately, though, Philly money line's plus 132, which is just not good enough for me to actually take for my play. So I think for this one, I am just going to go with the win margin here, and I am going to go with the Sixers. Sorry, just trying to find win margin. Sixers 1 to 10 in this game is plus 230. That's a great price. Give me the Sixers 1 to 10. Plus 230 is my dog.
All right. For my lock, it was either gonna be the Nets and Bucks over 221. I think I'll just alt my dog up because the numbers are overwhelming. Yeah, so let's go with the over. Nets Bucks 221 is the number right now, currently over on DraftKings. Nets, I think that the Nets are going to be a team that going forward, obviously, are embracing the tank, quote unquote. Well, they still have guys that can fill up the basket, right? They acquired D'Lo, Cam Thomas. When he gets out there, he chunks up a lot of shots, but he makes them until they win. And if they trade Cam Johnson, another guy that can fill up the basket there as well. Milwaukee have Giannis back. Of course, he returned to the last game. Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton. So they can also obviously put the ball in the basket with their 3-point shooting. Giannis attacking the basket as well. So I think that this can get up and over the number here of 221 as my lock. For my dog, I am going to go with Jaylen Brown over, or at least to score 25 or more points. He's been dominant against the Minnesota Timberwolves head-to-head. I just need to get these dates that are... Yeah, all right. So he's had 25 or more points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight games against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think a lot of the focus for the Minnesota Timberwolves defensively is focused on Jason Tatum, which is opening up a lot of opportunities for Jaylen Brown. They matched up earlier this season where he had 29 points for the Boston Celtics. So like I mentioned, 9 straight games where he's had 25 plus points against the Minnesota Timberwolves head to head. And I know he's coming off a game against Toronto where he has 12 points, but that was a game where they won by 54 points, so didn't really need him. But prior to that, 31 and 44 against the Pacers, 23 against the Sixers, 35 against Orlando Magic. You get what I'm trying to say here. So I would ladder this one up from 25 plus, starting at plus 125 for Jaylen Brown. If you want to go 30 plus, that's at plus 330. So I'll officially put it at plus 125 at the dog price here for Jaylen Brown as my dog pick here. All right, let's get over to Underdog here, Scott. UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure that promo code NBA SGPN. If you don't have an account, when you do sign up, you'll get a deposit bonus, 50% of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. They also throw in a gimme pick for you as well. And like I mentioned, when you do already have that account, they make it so easy with profit boost, gimme pick'ems. It's a lot of fun, honestly, over on Underdog Fantasy. All right, get to the NBA section here. Okay, where do we want to start here, Scott?
Well, I mentioned Reeves' rebounds, but I don't know if you want to double dip.
Oh yeah, he's been really good.
He just plays so many minutes.
Yeah, and that's the key. Like, I think even if it doesn't turn into a blowout, but I just don't feel like it will.
I mean, he's probably walking into 36, 37 plus minutes if this game is close.
Yeah, and he's been averaging. He's like averaging right around that, right, for the Lakers.
He's going over quite regularly, but he had 9 rebounds the last game. He was right there for a triple double. But Reeves, to go through the rebounding numbers for him, which I mentioned a second ago for my lock, but let me just pull it up here. For his rebounds, he's had at least 6 rebounds in 4 straight. If you actually want to get crazy with it, there are some alt rebounding numbers that I do like for his numbers tonight. 5.5 rebounds. This is more prop based, but it's at plus 260.
Yeah,
he's had 6 plus rebounds in 5 of the last 6 games. Like there's some opportunity there for the rebounds. I don't believe the odds makers have fully adjusted to that. So I like the 4.5, or maybe they have 3.5 there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so they have a 3.5 at 0.84x. If we want to go up to 5.5, it's 2.19x. Or we could go rebounds and assists.
Wait, you said 4.5 is what?
They don't have a 4.5 listed.
Oh, sorry, my bad. We could just do 3.5. That's fine.
Okay, all right, we'll go with that. And then what else do we like here for tonight?
Did you want anything with Shea? Did you want anything with? We can go Jaylen Brown if you want.
Yeah, I like the numbers. 9 straight head-to-head meetings he's had. 23.
He's also been great. So
yeah. All right, so we can go higher on that. Jaylen Brown, higher 22.5 points. Do you want to go Shea? Do you want to go like Tyler Hero, Giannis, Embiid? We're not sure if he plays tonight, but I think he does.
We're never sure if he plays, to be fair. So that kind of balances out.
What about like Giannis rebounds?
I have to ask. Do they have Jimmy Butler?
Jimmy Butler.
The answer is going to be no, but I can hope.
Bam, Tyler Hero, Miles Turner.
That's a no.
And Duncan. No, they don't have him listed.
Yeah, it's a no. Yet. Okay, that's what I thought. So if Butler ends up playing, you could consider taking his lower PRA again. But I'm trying to think of what else we actually want.
You want to go Shea?
Actually, you want to go D'Lo if they have lines on him?
Let's see.
Because his usage is still through the roof. So.
Yeah, they have him at 14.5 points.
I think we'd agree that's too low for a guy of his shot volume.
How many threes did he make last night?
Let me check.
Because that was the one I was looking at. I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. I felt like that if he's going to get higher on his points, and I think that it's correlated with his threes, but it's at 14.5.
He went 2 of 6 yesterday from 3, which means he went 7 of 7 on non-threes, which I think is pretty funny. But he had 22 points yesterday. So,
all right, how many assists do you have?
He had 8.
All right, so they have points listed at 14.5.
Sure, I'll go with the higher on that.
All right, there it is. All right, so our entry for tonight, we'll go Austin Reeves, higher 3.5 rebounds. We'll go Jaylen Brown, higher 22.5 points. And then we'll go D'Lo, now on the Brooklyn Nets, higher 14.5 points. It gets to about 5.04x. So every $10 that you do put in, you'll get a return of $50.40. if you want to take the alternate for Austin Reeves on his rebounds up to 5.5, you can spice it up and get some better odds on that for Austin Reeves. But yeah, that's our official entry here for tonight. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast. Scott, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
No. Once again, looking forward to the games tonight. Should be fun. We also have a playoff game for college football. So pretty nice day in sports.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Starting around, I think it's at 4 o'clock Eastern for the college football game, and that should carry us into the NBA action.
Well, you know the best part of the card today, though, right?
What?
There's no Thursday night NFL game.
Yes, no Thursday night football game.
You might actually get every game with a touchdown over the weekend because they weren't happening on Thursday, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. I think it was
the last two. We had the last 3 weeks where we weren't getting
it was 2 in a row.
Or a touchdown in the game there, so yeah. All right, yeah. So Scott and I actually will be back tomorrow for the Friday card. So we'll be here, same place, same time. So look out for us, and hopefully we're back talking about some more winners for the Thursday night card. Make sure you guys follow Scott over on the Twitter machine at Reichel Radio. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. If you haven't already subscribed to the NBA Gambling Podcast YouTube channel, please go and do that for us. And then hit that like button if you are watching us live here on the stream. And then if you're on the audio version, if you can do us a huge favor, leave us a rating and review, whether it's on Spotify, Apple. We would truly, truly greatly appreciate if you guys can do that for us. All right, talk to you guys tomorrow for the Friday card. Till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off, and always remember to let it ride.